So in my last video, I may have mentioned that I go by the name Moonshine at karaoke. I love the moon. I wear things that have like moon symbolism on them. I often wear jewelry that has stars and moons on them. I stare at the moon. I talk to the moon. I feel like the moon just enlivens me and sends me this energy that reminds me that like I am more than I think that I am. Because we are made of stardust. We are made of the cosmos. We came from the cosmos. We're connected to the cosmos. And I think we often forget that. And when I think of the moon, I think of what I can be, what I might not be being yet, but what I can be and what I probably am inside, but I'm not tapping into it. And the moon reminds me of how to tap into that. I've said this before, the moon is supposed to represent feminine energy, like being connected to the divine, to the cosmos, to your intuition, to source energy, to magic. Like moonshine to me is like really magical. And so when I show up at karaoke and people don't even know my real name or they don't remember it, and they call me Moonshine, it reminds me of that magic. I mean, I should already have it in me as Tasleem, but artists and musicians, like I've heard Beyonce, took on another name. I was surprised to hear that Beyonce felt that she's an introvert and is shy. I've seen, Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, they have such soft voices and may have come across as introverted in one part of their life, but they're huge and like, I don't even spectacular in their stage presence and the way they show up in their music and their artistry. And I think for me, taking on another name was a way for me to tap into that other part of me, because I think we get so fixated on our identities that we think we are. I've talked about this before. Personas can, sometimes lock us into something that isn't really true about us. Like for the longest time, I thought I was really shy. I have been told that, I'm really calm or I'm so compassionate and those kind of things, which can be really good qualities, but it means that then I started thinking, oh, that means like I can't stand up for myself, or I can't be out on stage and be really like big and have great stage presence. And I started locking myself into this identity that wasn't true about myself. I feel this also with illness. Like we can often not realize that because we're struggling through an illness and it's happening over a long period of time, we start identifying with that. Like we think we are it. And I've said this before. I even created a video about a long time ago, but I said, you are not your illness and it is not yours to keep. I never say my MS or my cold or my whatever it is. Like I even try to avert people from saying my allergies. Like I just feel like it's not yours. It's something that you're going through. And I feel like taking on this other name helps me take myself out of that locked in persona that I might have not realized I've conditioned myself into. And when I'm Moonshine, I feel like I represent a lot of the qualities that the moon has. Like the moon is supposed to represent feminine energy and being connected to the divine and to your intuition and flow. And the moon is mysterious and it has these different cycles, and it doesn't have to be one thing all the time. It's not always full. It's not always yellow. It's not always crescent, and I feel like I really connect with the night. And so the moon reminds me of the night energy, like the cool energy, it's it's sort of inviting but soft, different from the sun energy, which is masculine and penetrating and hot and big, and it can create sunsets and very fiery and very like, hey, I'm the sun, and it's kind of louder, and um, you know it's the rays that are direct, whereas the sun is softer. I mean, sorry, the moon is softer. And yeah, I realize that it helps me when I get up on stage to embody the qualities that I think the moon represents. I just started reading this book called Cured, and it's about healing. It's about not just healing, but like what looks like spontaneous healing of illnesses and diseases and things that people were told like that could never be cured, or your life is coming to an end and you better prepare for it. And then they did something to like miraculously change their life, and now they're still living, or they survived through it, or they survived way past what they were told they would. And I just started the book, but I'm so excited to get to the part where later on it talks about how part of what they discovered about these, spontaneous healings, or what looked like spontaneous healings, was that the people that experienced them changed their identity. I'm not saying change who you are at the core, but maybe there's an aspect of finding out who you really are at the core instead of who you thought you were. And I'm really excited about this because I do believe that people can get healed from changing their identities and finding out who they really are. Because I think sometimes illnesses get brought to us to awaken that in us, to say, hey, there's something more that you're meant to do here, and we want to wake you up to see what that thing is. Like, that definitely happened to me in dance. I started dancing because I lost feeling in my legs years ago, and then I just didn't want to stop dancing. I mean, and I feel like getting MS and losing feeling came to me for a purpose, to help me to change aspects of my life that were no longer serving me and were not for my highest good. And I started changing them, and I started changing my identity, and there were things that were happening in my body that doctors and people were saying like that can't happen, but they were happening, and they were great things. And I do believe that even now, what I'm going through now, even though it's, feels like it's progressively gotten worse recently, I do believe that there are some things that my body is saying to me, like, you need to change this about your identity. We're here, like, I'm here to shake you up a little bit more. I know you thought that was enough shaking up, but we're going to shake you up a little bit more, because there's something more, to another level that you're being taken to. And for me, Moonshine represents that right now. I've had other names before, but right now Moonshine is where I'm at, because I think I need that softness, that femininity, that flow, that trust. Yeah, there's something really sacred about the moon and its energy, and sensual. And I think the sensuality aspect, like, I always admired women out there who could get up on stage, or even just in real life, like even if they were just out to dinner or walking into a room, I'm like, how they look so sexy and sensual, and so like everyone just stares at them. And it's an energy thing. It's like why we stare at the moon. It's the energy, but we are energy. We are made from the cosmos. We are mostly energy. And I believe that when you shift your identity, you're also shifting your energy. And when you shift your energy, you open up your body and being to start embodying a different possibilities that you just didn't think would happen, but they can happen. So yeah, I'm curious if any of you guys have either taken on like an artist name or, I don't know why Prince came to mind for me, because Prince was first Prince and then he just became a symbol. I feel like there's something to that, and yeah, there have been artists that have claimed to be really shy and not really loud in their everyday life, but then they get up on stage and they actually have taken on another name just to tap into that aspect of them. I'm curious if any of you guys want to take on another name, or if you know of other artists that have. I think it's really powerful. And I kind of like it when people call me, like, sometimes I'm not even at karaoke and someone from karaoke sees me somewhere else and they're like, hey, Moonshine, or they'll text me and they just send me a moon and I know that means moonshine. Actually, one time I was waiting outside for a handy dart ride after karaoke and I was feeling quite vulnerable because I was feeling like, I've lost that independence, or I'm waiting for someone to help me to get into a car and having these mobility issues. But then someone from karaoke came and decided to wait with me, or maybe he actually offered me a ride so I could stay and sing my last song. Yeah, that's what happened. And as we were walking to his car, I said, oh my God, look at the moon. And I was just looking at the moon and he looked at me and he said, moonshine. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, that's me. But it felt so good to take it on. And then whenever I've gone back there, like, I remember that moment. And whenever I have a moment of like feeling weaker or feeling like not enough or something, I'm like, no, wait a second, I'm moonshine. Like, even if it's just when I get up on stage, I become moonshine, or hopefully I can hold on to that even when I'm off stage. And Tasleem will take on that as well as Tasleem. But for now, I like that I'm also moonshine. Let me know what you'd want your stage name, karaoke name, artist name to be, or if you already have one. I'd love to hear from you, and I will talk to you soon.